Want to know something? I've had the urge, no, the desire, to review a Switch 2 title. There are no shortages of Switch 2 titles that I could review. The problem stems from the fact that a majority of Switch 2 titles are on these things called keycards. Keycards don't actually have any data on them. It's pretty much just a digital download code, meaning if you try to install it without the internet, yeah, that can happen. This practice threatens physical gaming as we speak. If this keeps up, physical media will just outright disappear. Nothing will ever be preserved, and you will know nothing, and you will be happy about it. However, there are some Switch 2 titles that actually have some data on the card. One of those titles is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Developed by Goodfeel, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book attempts to shake up the traditional Yoshi formula. Instead of platforming to the end of a level, you study the creatures from Yoshi's universe and solve platforming puzzles. This shakeup actually worked, as the game's reception has been at its highest for a Yoshi game since Yoshi's Island DS. I'm actually very eager to see what this game has in store. So let's pop in the cart and start studying the wild creatures. After beating this game, I have to say, I feel very insulted. But it's not for the reasons that you might think it is. Like, is the game buggy? Well, no. My initial run had 0 bugs. Not even the infamous pop-in that is so common in these games is here. Then it must be laggy, right? Yeah, except Nintendo wouldn't be caught dead with a game that didn't run at a consistent 60 frames a second. Except during the pre-rendered cutscenes where it runs at 30 frames a second. So, why do I feel insulted, you might be thinking? Because getting the Chapter 6 ending takes a mere 5 hours. I paid $70 for a 5-hour game? For shame, Nintendo. For shame. But wait, there is another ending. A true ending, if you will. If I'm going to get my money's worth, I better get this ending instead. It was during this playthrough that I discovered that Yoshi is a ghost. He just walked through this tumball. Strange, I don't actually remember seeing any ghosts that Yoshi could mount. One cool thing this game does have is that some of the animation frames are cut, giving this game a stop-motion effect. But what I didn't expect is that the game itself ended up cutting out for a second. Looks like I'm not the only one that's trapped in this book. Well, damn. This game was so close to being the perfect build. Well, despite this game's few shortcomings, it's still a pretty damn good build. We got a game that rises above the other 2010s Yoshi games to become the most fun and polished game in the series. And to sweeten the deal, doing the extra 4 chapters adds an additional 4 hours to the playtime, totaling 9 hours. Now, doesn't that seem a lot more respectable for $70?